Welcome to the Saturday Morning Block Party Podcast. I'm your host Norbert, and I wasn't even supposed to be here today. We're all pretty familiar with the concept of a show going on way too long, way past its prime. All its fresh and exciting ideas were long done. It just seems soulless, and we're just begging it to die. Shows like The Simpsons, which, trust me, we'll get to that. And there's SpongeBob, and I guess Fairly Odd Parents too. I haven't seen the new episodes, but can you believe it's 2015 and we're still making Fairly Odd Parents? Well, we're not talking about that today. We might talk about it later, especially The Simpsons. But today we're talking about the opposite. We're talking about short-lived cartoons that were really good, or not necessarily really good, but definitely deserved more than they got. Because there are a lot of shows, especially in the early 2000s, post-Simpsons, post-South Park boom of adult, quote-unquote adult animated sitcoms. And, you know, when people realized, hey, this isn't The Simpsons, this isn't a huge hit, you know, a lot of them got lost. And there's also action cartoons, which are getting more rare, and those often get canceled really early too. So we decided that we're going to talk about a few shows that only went on for one season. That's the rule here. There's some other short-lived shows that are a little bit longer, but, you know, we're just sticking to one season here. And we're going to talk about what the shows were like, what we liked about them, what made them memorable, why they deserved a second, third, whatever season. And we got a lot of good shows to talk about. We're talking about Clone High, Motorcity, Sym-Bionic Titan, Clerks the animated series. These are all really good shows, and I recommend you go watch them. So today with me is Tyler, guy I met through the internet. I remember when we first started messaging, it was kind of weird. He sent me a Rickroll link and said, "You've been memed by the memer." So I hope you like him. Thanks for listening. I'll see you again at the end.
Distant galaxy, the planet Galaluna lies in ruin.
You'll pay for this, I swear it.
Its only hope for a future, forced into exile on a tiny backwater world called Earth.
This is to be our new home.
Now, a princess, her soldier, and their robot must face the most difficult test of their lives. High school.
Salutations.
Like every teenager, they've got a secret.
Lance, no, not here.
But this one's pretty big. When danger threatens, they transform into the mighty Sym-Bionic Titan.
That is special.
Today, they'll defend Earth as their own.
Energized sword.
And hope that their people have a future. Sym-Bionic Titan. Every Saturday night at 2 a.m.
Armor up.
Only Toonami on Adult Swim.
Sym-Bionic Titan is a show on Cartoon Network made by Genny Tartakovsky. He also made Dexter's Lab and Samurai Jack. And Sym-Bionic Titan is about these three beings, two aliens and a robot from a planet in outer space. Their homeworld has been taken over, and they escape to Earth for safety. And they also have mech suits, and when they combine, they turn into the Sym-Bionic Titan. And this was a really good show. I think it's one of the best shows to come out in the last 5 years or so. This was a time when I didn't think that there were any good cartoons out, but this is a really good show. And unfortunately, it got canceled after one season. The original rumor was that it got canceled because nobody thought it would make a good toy line, but apparently the real reason, even though that might have been a factor, the real reason was that there were contract disputes. And a while ago, the show was written off for tax purposes, so it cannot legally be aired. What do you think about Sym-Bionic Titan?
It was, like, a very stunning show. Like, I'm not really into, like, mech type cartoons or anything, but when I saw it, it was, like, really well animated, and I love, like, the shading and the coloring and all that. Was like it was stunning, especially coming from someone who, like, makes comedy cartoons. He made Samurai Jack, but it also had some comedy elements in it. I felt Sym-Bionic Titan was more, like, serious at times than Samurai Jack was.
One of the things I really liked about this show is that it's not a formulaic monster of the week type thing. When you watch the first couple episodes, you might think it is, but it's not like, oh, it's a new monster, we have to defeat it. Oh wait, we can't defeat it alone, we need to combine. It's not that every episode. Like, they mix it up a good amount. One of them is, like, one episode is mostly based around car racing, and another episode is, quite a few episodes are flashbacks, and they're really well done. It's not like Power Rangers. It's not Power Rangers.
Yeah, it's like, you don't have like, oh, here's the putties, and then here's like another one. Like, they always fight like different monsters in that one, and it's always like they lose creativity with it.
Yeah, and something else I like is that even though they're strongest, when they combine and become the Sym-Bionic Titan, they don't need to do that every fight. They can defeat some monsters with just their individual mechs, even sometimes just one or two of them can handle a monster. And I feel like that gave them more flexibility, because I know that there could have been a lot of interesting fight scenes in something like Power Rangers if every once in a while, instead of forming a Megazord, they had the individual Zords fighting the monster.
Yeah, I'd like to see that a lot more. And with Sym-Bionic Titan, it was they weren't dependent on each other. Like, Lance was like the cliche, like, distant character, but his mission was to protect Lana and everything like that.
Right. The three main characters are Lance, Ilana, and Octus. And Lance is a soldier from the planet they come from, Galaluna. It's like this futuristic planet, but mixed with the Victorian England aesthetic. And he's a soldier from there. He's a troublemaker, and he was actually in jail right before he got sent to Earth. And Ilana is the princess of the planet, and Octus is a robot. And yeah, that's the setup. Those are the three that's like the basic character. What did you like about Sym-Bionic Titan?
I liked a lot of the animation, and it was very, like, inspiring for me. And, like, all of Giddy Tartakovsky's was, like, really inspiring for me to become a cartoon animator and everything like that. And, like, I wish they would have came out with, like, toys and merchandise for it. And so, like, I would be buying that today.
It would be really cool if they had, like, a 6-foot Titan model, kind of like how they have those enormous Gundam models.
Yeah, like, I wish they would, in the Cartoon Network studios in California, like how they do in Japan, like, build the giant Gundams and build like a giant, like, Titan.
Yeah, but to be honest, I really didn't like the designs all that much for the four main mechs. Well, Octus. I'm not counting Octus. I liked Octus's design, but I didn't like Lance or Alana's mech suits or the Titan suit. And usually I really like getting Tartakovsky's mech designs because I remember watching Dexter's Lab and loving the Robodexo 2000 and the Dodgeball Machine. And I really want a figure of both of those.
Yeah, like, I think they did make one of the Robot Dexter and the one with Mandark, like, but I can't find them anywhere. Like, they were like promo figures for something.
Mm.
And I did like the mech designs for the show, like, but I'm not a big fan of 3D animation incorporated with 2D, so that's what made it a little awkward with the full formation of the Titan. Like, it was clear, but, like, it looked 3D-ish, and it gave off that, like, cheapy 3D feel.
In case the audience doesn't know what Sym-Bionic Titan is, in case you haven't watched it, there is a really infamous scene that I bet the majority of people identify that show with. That's what they remember the show with.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'll put in a clip here so you know what I'm talking about.
The isosceles triangle has two congruent sides. No.
Anyway.
Like, when I saw that, like, I think it was like 2009, so that was about like 6 years ago. I was like 12, so I was like, whoa, what's this? And then and that was like my coming of age of puberty and stuff, and it was just like, whoa.
So you mean your coming of age wasn't from watching Dexter's Shower?
Of course, but we'll save that for later.
Yeah, hey kids, here's a fun drinking game. Watch Evgeny Tartakovsky's show and take a shot every time one of his male characters are shirtless or naked.
That, and try to watch Dexter's Rude Removal, not go into alcoholic coma.
One of the episodes I thought was really cool was an episode where all the humans on Earth were just frozen in place because of I think it was a sound frequency that was going on. And Octus, the robot, he was the only one left on Earth who could move and think. He was the only one awake, so he had to figure out what the problem was. And as we go on the show, they always mention how Octus is a really unique robot. He can do stuff like he can shapeshift. He plays the part of, I guess, their brother and also their dad, and he can generate matter or mass or something. He can put stuff together like a replicator, because in the scene where they bought the house, he just put his hand behind his back and created a whole pile of counterfeit cash. And this episode was all about him exploring exactly what he was, because he's this artificial intelligence, but he knows that he's not human. He knows he's a robot, but even though he is a robot, he's thinking and feeling. And I really felt like that episode was something that Isaac Asimov, who wrote I, Robot, would really be proud of.
Yeah, I think it was like kind of a mixture, like with the inspiration of I, Robot and The Day the Earth Stood Still, because I felt like that's what happened in The Day the Earth Stood Still. Like everything like froze toward the end of the movie and the giant robot came down and everything.
How do you like the action in this show?
I thought it was really cool. Like not a big fan of mech, but it actually made it work. And again with the 3D, it was a little awkward too with the fighting scenes where they're fighting like 2D monsters and they kind of like have 3D like angles going on. But it did make it work from time to time, and I did like it.
I really loved the fight choreography in this, because when they're not doing the mech battles, they still have some hand-to-hand combat, especially with Lance, and it's really good. You can really feel the weight that's being thrown around when he's fighting, and I really like his fighting style. I don't know how they made this. I don't know if they mimicked it from something else, but something I really love is that sometimes he won't just punch somebody and they'll fly away. No, he'll just keep beating on somebody in the same spot for like 10 seconds and then he's done with them. And other times when he's fighting, his fighting style, it seems to resemble like ballet or something. And that makes sense in a way, because this is the planet he came from is based in this Victorian English aesthetic, so it's very regal, and I think that reflects it really nicely.
Yeah, I really liked the fighting like he did with just like without the suit and everything, and like he wasn't like crazy overpowered either. Like he wouldn't like sock someone and they'd like get like they wouldn't like fly 5,000 feet. Like he would, and again like it was like again like choreographed and very like ballet-ish, which made it more like fluid in the animation rather than just like straight up like boxing or like swinging like fist like around.
Lance is just so graceful when he's beating up bad guys.
Yeah.
Yep. And there's just a lot of really well directed and really well choreographed and storyboarded sequences, like the episode where he builds a car and he races it. It's a really good car scene. You'd think it's from Need for Speed or not Need for Speed, Fast and Furious or something. Or the scene from, I think, the second episode when Ilana's getting on the bus to go to the mall and it's his job to protect her. So yeah, he's a bodyguard. So he goes to chase her and he's running through the city. He's jumping on cars. He's swinging from that one steel girder you always see in cartoons.
Yeah. Like, I really like, there's the one episode I forgot, like, how it went through all the way. He that guy who comes, he's kind of like the hipster dude, and he's playing, like, the guitar and everything. And he, like, Lance starts to learn how to play the guitar and everything. I felt like that was, like, a calming episode. Like, I think it was after, like, a bunch of, like, hectic episodes with action packs.
That was a really good episode, and I really like how when they did the band, it wasn't just your generic cartoon. Hey, we're a band and we're going to sing a song about rock and roll and being in a band because we're in a band. No, it was legit. It
wasn't like
it was like music
band.
it was music from the real world, really. I mean, it was original for the show, but it's music that you could turn on the radio or something and actually believe. It's not like, yeah, we're rock and roll and we like to rock, yeah.
Yeah, like GarageBand did a lot of that too. They would always talk about the topic of the episode, and it didn't feel authentic, but it did feel authentic in that episode.
Oh, remember when Archie made a special guest appearance in an episode?
He did?
Yeah, Archie.
I
You don't remember the army guy the army soldier who was hired to go to school and spy on them?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
the
yeah.
big beefy Archie.
Yeah, Archie got ripped. But too bad it's not going to save him from the Predator.
Jughead will make fun of him no more.
Yeah, Sym-Bionic Titan had a lot of these kinds of references and cameos. Remember the Johnny Quest one?
Let me see. I'm trying to think of it. I don't know.
Well, in the prologue episode, Ilana's bodyguard, or whatever his job was, he looked like Johnny Quest's dad. Let me try to look up his name. But you remember him? He had white hair?
Yeah.
Yeah, he looked like Race Bannon. And, there's probably more references, but the only other one I remember right now is that Ron Stoppable was in one of the episodes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there was an episode where they were trapped in the school by an alien, and there was this kid in a mascot outfit, and he had Ron Stoppable's voice.
Oh, yeah, him. Didn't he have sort of like the parted hair, the brown parted hair?
I don't remember what he looks like, but that has to be intentional.
He was like a minor character, I think.
Nah, he wasn't. Oh, and there was kind of, sort of, Ilana's, not a love interest, but maybe, the skinny nerd she hung out with. Some people say he looks like Hiccup from How to Train Your Dragon. Others say he looks like Cody from, what do you call it? Total Drama.
Oh, yeah, that's the guy I was thinking of.
Yeah.
See, you could probably find the character's name on the IMDb page.
Mm-hmm.
Will Friedel is a guy. Guy's 38. He did, he voiced it was recent, so let me look. His name was he voiced 3 actually. It was Brian Jason and Student Number 1.
Wow, such a prestigious role, Student Number 1.
Yeah, imagine getting that, it's like, oh, you got the role, and it's like, oh, what for? Student Number 1. Oh.
Yeah.
Just finally. Apparently he played on Girl Meets World too. And he plays Bumblebee on the new Transformers Robots in Disguise series.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're starting to make that more childish.
So there have been some talks after Sym-Bionic Titan got canceled, and Genny Tartakovsky said that the French love it, and there would be some possibility of them maybe funding season 2, but so far nothing's gone through. No progress has been made as far as we know, and not only that, but he's really busy. He's been working with Sony a lot, and he did Hotel Transylvania, and he's got to do the second one, I think. And hopefully he'll be able to do Popeye, but who knows? It's been delayed.
Yeah, I'm hoping to see something about the new Popeye movie because I saw the demo reel and it looked pretty good. And Hotel Transylvania 2 looks really good too because I like the first one. But again, it's an Adam Sandler movie, so it features Adam Sandler, so.
And he was talking about season 2. There's actually several scripts that were written, and in his opinion, they're even better than the first season. One of them was supposed to be this sort of 80s musical episode where they're singing, and I think Ilana falls in love.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about that. At least it's not the overdone concept of the 50s jukebox thing. Because I always see that all the time with flashback or time warp episodes. It's just 50s leather jackets and hey, Fonzie.
Now, we at the Saturday Morning Black Party podcast do not endorse breaking into any houses or studios or saves or private islands or caves
Or punching any jukeboxes with your elbow.
to retrieve any scripts, but if you did do that, we would read them.
I encourage it. Don't listen to him.
So any more thoughts on Sym-Bionic Titan?
No, not that I can remember.
Okay.
I can think of it now.
Okay, let's talk about Clone High.
Way back in the 1980s, secret government employees dug up famous guys and ladies and made them using genetic copies. Now the clones are sexy teens. Now they're gonna make it if they try. Loving, learning, sharing, judging. Time to laugh and shiver and
Not sure who it was made by. Like, the style of it never, like, struck me as any, like, person who was popular or did any cartoons before. Like, I cannot say the dude's last name. Tartakovsky. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a show made by Chris Lord, Phil Miller, and those are the people behind. Well, Scrubs and Clone High are basically made by the same team, and Chris Lord and Phil Miller, I may or may not have gotten their names mixed
it's Phil
up.
Lord and Christopher Miller, and then there's Bill Lawrence.
Oh, right, him too. And they also made, well, some of them also made the Lego movie and some other really good stuff. They seem to be big shots at Sony now. But Clone High is about a high school populated by the clones of historical figures. Like, the main characters are Abe Lincoln, Joan of Arc,
JFK.
and Mahatma Gandhi, and Cleopatra.
I think it was a really funny show. Like, when it came out, it was, like, a bit too mature for me, so, like, whenever I would watch it, I'd feel, like, kind of guilty. It'd be like, I'm not supposed to be watching this. But I would watch it anyways. And, like, when I got older and in the age range of TV 14, I started actually, like, watching it online and, like, getting to, like, know everything about it, like, that I would never, like, the jokes I would never get as a kid.
Clone High is a parody of the teenage high school drama TV show genre that was really popular back in the early 2000s. And this show is very early 2000s. Like, I hear some of the music they play in the scenes, and that's just nostalgia for me. It's just, I remember when things were so easy, so good. Remember buying Yu-Gi-Oh cards and playing Tony Hawk.
Yeah. Like, that, like, every time I hear, like, the intro song, like, it's just like, wow, I get, like, the chills, like, you get the chill bumps. It's just like, wow, like, I remember watching this as a kid, and I remember when it was actually on air, and I didn't have to, like, illegally download it.
I never watched it when it was airing, because when I did had cable, I usually didn't watch MTV, and, yeah, if I knew this was on MTV, I probably would have watched it, though, because I'd only watch cartoons, really.
Yeah, that's all I really watched, too. Like, I would occasionally walk in on my mom, who was watching Nip Tuck, which traumatized me for life. But, like, all I really would do is, like, the cartoons that were out when I could process memories were, like, Clone High, for example, and, like, the 4th season of Dexter's Lab was out, and I remember that. I had Boomerang, so I watched, like, you know, like, all the Hanna-Barbera cartoons, too, and, Tom and Jerry.
I really like the premise of Clone High. It's really interesting, and something that makes it even better is the fact that it's no secret that they're clones. It's just openly, everyone knows they're clones. They're all foster kids. They have foster homes.
Yeah, like, JFK has 2 gay dads, and it's like and he's just like, oh, my dad's. He like, knows he's not really JFK.
Yeah, they all know they're not really the person they're cloned after. They call the originals their clone fathers and clone mothers. And I really like how they get the humor from the fact that they're clones. Like, in one scene, they're talking about how Lincoln should maybe run for cool president. And he's just saying, I don't know why, but it feels like I have some kind of ingrained aversion to being a leader. And then right behind him, you see a portrait of the original Abraham Lincoln getting his brains blown out.
Like, my favorite part in that episode was, like, when JFK was trying to get dirt on him and stuff. Like, he was airing this, like, videos like, Abe Lincoln, he eats babies, and he edited the clip, and it's like, I can't wait to eat this baby. And then he's like eating spaghetti. He's like, hey, how did JFK get my spaghetti clip?
Oh, my favorite part of that video was last year, Abe said he was 15. This year, he said he was 16. Abe? Which is it, Abe? And, let's see, JFK, he was talking to his dads, and they were saying that people loved JFK because he was a good leader that gave people hope. And JFK's like, I thought he was a womanizing something. Oh, and Marie Curie, her clone is there, but she's horribly deformed because of the radiation. Oh, remember that very special episode with Ponce de Leon?
Let me see. I'm trying to remember it. I'm not sure. The one I remember the most was the one with Marilyn Manson in it, where he actually voices himself.
Oh, yeah. But before we talk about that, every episode of Clone High is a very special episode.
Not a very special episode of Clone High.
And one very, very special episode of Clone High was Litter Kills, literally. And it was this episode was making fun of the whole, they meet a new character and he's so full of life, but then he dies episode. And they have Ponce de Leon take this role, and they call him, he wears a leather jacket, and he's obviously this parody of, what's his name? Bonzi.
Oh, yeah, now it's coming back.
Yeah, they call him Ponce. Talk about Marilyn Manson.
I think that was, the second episode or the first episode. Like, the episode was about, like, these people were trying to promote this, like, new extreme drink for kids, and it was, like, actually, like, pain or something, and, like, Gandhi got, like, obsessed with it, and he started, like, drinking and eating, like, every single, like, bottle of it, and he had, like, a whole belt full of it, and, like, he was on the ground, he's all blue and stuff, and Marilyn Manson comes in, he's like, hey, kids, do you know about the food pyramid? And they're like, what? And then he, like, starts singing, like, a little, like, show tune song about, like, the food pyramid.
His greatest work ever.
Your own personal Jesus. We got food pyramid.
Oh, speaking of Jesus, he's in the show too. Yeah, he's a Mexican named Jesus Cristo, and he's this artist.
Yeah, like, I remember him most from the Raisin episode where Jack Black was this guy, and like, they had a lot of, like, really, like, famous people come in and voice and everything.
Oh yeah, have you heard about the Powerpuff Girls episode, See Me, Feel Me, Know Me? Oh, I just got that episode title. See Me, Feel Me, Know Me. And the episode's about a gnome. I just got that. But do you remember that episode?
I'm trying to remember. Like, there was like 13 episodes, and it's been a while since I've seen them all.
It was the band episode. No, of Powerpuff Girls. The band episode.
The one where I'm thinking of the clown one, where all the color goes away and they sing. I'm not sure.
See Me, Feel Me, Know Me. I can't believe it took me that long to figure it out. See Me, Feel Me, Know Me is an episode where...
Oh, yeah, with Jack Black. Yeah, now I remember.
Yeah, it's... The Powerpuff Girls get tired, so they trade in their powers with the gnome for world peace. And I'll talk about that episode in more detail in a later episode, but this episode is a rock opera, and the voice of the gnome was originally supposed to be Jack Black, but it ended up being somebody else. And I just love how Jack Black ended up being in a rock opera for a different show, Clone High.
It's like, you don't want me, I'll go to this one.
Oh, Tree, I wish you had some idea how to solve the raisin problem.
I got something that'll make all your teenage problems go up in smoke. Check it. I'm the pusher! The pusher! I push raisins on kids, and kids think it's cool, cause they're told not to do it by the parents in school. I'm the pusher! I'm the pusher! I'm a turn alluring with bands cards. I know you can't resist me. Do you wanna smoke some fruit? Check out my sweet-ass matching pantsuit. I'm the badass low-class pusher. I'm the booty-licking taco chicken pusher. Kids think drugs are cool. That is why I rule. I provoke simple folk to the smoke. Take a toke, get your foot on my cloak.
Oh, sorry.
I'll make my own rock opera, and it'll have raisins. Yeah. You smoke with them raisins? Yeah.
And how you can get high and addicted to them.
Mm-hmm.
All the time. Like, there was he was like someone called the Pusher or something, and he would always like try to like they all got like and Abe was like the only one that wasn't like pressured into it, or Joan of Arc, she was the one that was never pressured. And then they like Cleopatra comes in and she's like, "Oh, it's cool, Abe, you should do it." And he's like, "Okay." Like, he has like no second thoughts.
Yeah, he can be a pushover with Cleopatra. I just realized that this is the second episode about drugs that they did. Except in the first one, instead they used staying up and not sleeping as a metaphor for drugs. And that was really hilarious. Like, Joan was like, I used to just stay up casually with friends, but one day I just ended up in a dumpster with my eyes wide open.
Trying to remember that one was called. I think it was like Sleep of Faith or something.
Maybe. What else?
I like that it like the character designs were original, but they like showed like who they were supposed to be, and it was kind of like obvious who it was. But like they were like teen-aged, and like I also liked like the humor in it a lot. With like the episode with Gandhi, and I think it's somewhere else where he's trying to make like a movie, and that spawned like a whole meme of like the say what. It's like, say what? And like they would do what? Say what? And like it's spawned like that. Like I've watched like several videos of like remixes of that scene.
Say what? Stop it!
Yeah.
Oh, we forgot to talk about Principal Scudworth.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, talk about him.
Like, he was the one that was behind the whole operation of, like, putting the clones in the high school and everything, and getting their, like, DNA and cloning them.
Well, nah, he was a lackey, really. It was the secret government. He was disposable.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he wanted to trap the clones and make an amusement park themed around them.
Oh, yeah. Like, because I remember every episode he would have, like, little models of, like, Ferris wheels and stuff.
He was a really funny character, and it made it even more funny that he built his own sidekick to bounce off of Mr. What was his name?
Butlertron.
Mr. Butlertron. A little butler who called everyone Wesley for some reason.
Wesley.
And it's really fun seeing him have his own little adventures and trying to do evil.
Yeah. But, like, at the same, you can't take him seriously. It's just like, it's like Doofenshmirtz. Like, you can't take them seriously because they're like, oh, I'm gonna rule the world, or I'm gonna open, like, an amusement park and, like, enslave, like, the clones and stuff. But, like, they always have, like, the goofy scenes that you can never take seriously with them.
I never thought about that, but he definitely is the superior Doofenshmirtz.
Yeah.
Doofenshmirtz is like the, I don't even know, like the generic. Scudworth is Coca-Cola, and Scudworth is that stuff from the dollar store.
Yeah, the Dr. Thunder or something. The Dr. Pepper to Dr. Thunder.
Yeah.
Or D-Pep or something like that. I forgot one of them. There was like a whole list of them.
So have you heard the interviews where the people behind the show talk about what they would have done in the second season? Oh wait, let's talk about the ending. The ending episode. I remember reading a thing where it listed what it meant to the story that a show was canceled. I mean, what it means for the story when a show is canceled. Like it said, Samurai Jack, it was canceled without a conclusion, so Jack never finds his way home and he never stops the future from coming. I think Clone High is one of the saddest ones because in Clone High, all of the characters get frozen. And it was right after this whole emotional turmoil between Abe and Joan. And it was just so sad. Like, this is how their story ends.
Yeah, like they were at the prom and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like all that went down, and there was a whole thing with like Gandhi getting dates for like the geeks and all that.
Yeah. He wanted to get dry humped. And when he wanted to dry hump somebody.
Like, wasn't it like it looked like it was like Genghis Khan's sister or something?
Oh, that was Marie Curie. She wanted to go with him, but he didn't realize she liked him.
Yeah.
And then he learned that the driest hump is abstinence.
Oh, yeah. Stay in school, kids.
Yeah.
Like, John Stamos was in that episode, too.
Yeah, he was Scudworth's nemesis, wasn't he?
Yeah. He played himself, too, and that's what made it funny. It's just like Full House mixed with Clone High.
Yeah.
It's like all I know him from.
Yeah.
He's talking about like bringing back Full House.
Yeah, as if people are just trying to cash in on nostalgia these days.
Yeah. 90s kids won't only understand.
Yeah. If you're a true 90s kid, send $19.95 to my house.
Send $100,000 if you're a true 90s kid.
Please, I haven't worked in 10 years.
I haven't worked in 10 years. I'm in my basement with Rugrats memorabilia.
So there was an interview with the show's creators about what they would have done in a second season. Have you seen that?
I think it was like on the DVD, like bonus features.
Well, they were talking and they said that the second season would have started off with them walking to school like in the first season, and they don't remember anything from between prom and then. And over the course of the season, it would have came back to them. And what they wanted to do, they wanted to keep the show going on for quite a while, and they wanted it so that at the end of the second season, they get sucked through a time portal so that they have to repeat senior year. And eventually they were just going to do all these convoluted ways to get them to stay in high school when they're in their 30s.
No,
I just would have loved that, because that's a really good parody of how teen dramas have the kids on way too long. And
it's like Drake was like 19 before he left of Degrassi.
Oh, at first I thought you meant Drake Bell.
Oh, Drake Bell on Degrassi.
He's the real Drake.
He's not the realest Drake.
Except no substitutes. Drake Bell.
Imagine it like role swap with Drake and Drake Bell.
Drake Bell's not doing too well.
Oh yeah, his hand got messed up and he's not going to be able to like play again. And
he's in massive debt. And I think the only work he's really had was those Timmy Turner movies.
Oh my god.
So sad. And Josh is just chilling on Vine.
Yeah, it's like
he's cool. He's good.
Like he's been I don't know. Do you get paid for Vine?
No. But he's
why
chilling.
Do you do it?
He saved and invested responsibly.
Yeah, like Drake is just like there. Like he's always talking about like, oh, we're gonna make a new movie, and it's just like 5 years later, it's like, where is it?
Yeah. And I'm not really sure if this is. I'm pretty skeptical of if this is the real reason, but what they said the reason Clone High was canceled is because some magazine posted some lies about Mahatma Gandhi. They published, I'm so used to the internet, they published some lies about Clone High and the way they portrayed Gandhi, and a bunch of Indians got really in arms about that, and they got so offended that MTV canceled the show.
Yeah, with the hunger strike response, it's kind of like that, what was it, the Boondocks episode, they got banned, the MTV one.
And that's different because
with BET.
That was just network politics.
Yeah.
It wasn't because the episode was offensive or anything. It was because they made fun of BET, which is owned by this network, which is owned by that company, and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, I remember hearing about something like with there was, because he was Gandhi was very skinny in the Clone High series, and I guess that was just kind of being like a joke, like, you know, how Gandhi fasted all the time and for peace and all that.
I don't think that was it. I think there were, I don't know. I think I'd have to look at the magazine, but I think what they were saying is, I I don't know, but it wasn't. I don't think it was that. I don't know. They actually said that if they got a second season, they were thinking about maybe Gandhi finding out that he wasn't really Gandhi's clone, but he was Gary Coleman's clone. And I don't get that because at the time, Gary Coleman was still alive.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was George Foreman. I don't remember. But I think that's dumb.
Yeah.
Wait, I thought it was Indian all this time. I thought it was Indian all this time, but I was actually black? No.
Yeah.
So, any more thoughts on Clone High?
I wish it would have lasted a lot longer, and I wish they would like pull out like a Kickstarter or something to get like a second season going. But I don't know if it would, and I don't know if Viacom would allow it after like the potential controversy that happened with the Gandhi thing.
I don't think that this show would really work if it came back because the teen drama thing, that's not big anymore. So it might not resonate with people as much. Plus, it's just a really early 2000s show. It's just dripping off of it.
They have like flip phones and the Motorola Razors and stuff.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool if they did like update the style, like give it a more like, but keep like the same designs, but have like a more modernized animation flow to it.
I like this style. It's very early 2000s.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the cartoons from the early 2000s and late 90s look like that.
Yeah, like Clerks look like that a lot too.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Hi, loyal fans. I'm Dante, and this is Randall. We're the stars of the hit ABC cartoon Clerks, and we're ready to take your questions.
Are you guys gay or what?
No. Next question.
Yeah, I love the movie Clerks, but I think your show sucks hard. It's in color, right? And nobody curses? It's nothing like the movie with all the monkeys and the little league stuff and the evil billionaire guy. It's like it's on The Simpsons. No! I also feel that you guys come off as gay on the show. Thank you.
That wasn't even a question.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you how little you guys sold out for and what it feels like to have no soul and a black heart. Oh, and when will Ellen be guesting on your very gay show?
I can't believe it. They hate the show.
Yeah, and they think you're gay.
We have to do something. We've got to make the show more like the movie, quick.
But why? The network thinks it's great, and the network would never let a bad show on the air, even if they owned it. Would they?
Boys and girls of America, from this point on, I promise that Clerks the cartoon is going to be more like Clerks the movie.
Who are you talking to?
We're bringing it back to its roots. You have my word. Nothing but old school Clerks.
We're keeping it real, folks.
Like, I just like recently started, I watched it. It's only 6 episodes, but it was like a really good series. Like, I liked it a lot better than the Clerks movies, actually.
Clerks, the animated series, is based on the Kevin Smith movies, Clerks. And if you don't know what that is, it's this black and white movie from the 90s about this convenience store clerk and this video store clerk, and they're hanging out and stuff. And it was really funny. It's a really good movie. I like it. And they decided to make a cartoon out of it. It was just like Clone High, it was one of the shows to really come out of that big boom post-Simpsons, where a lot of networks decided, hey, let's make animated series targeted at adults. And a lot of good shows came out of that. Most of them were really short-lived, like The Critic or God, the Devil and Bob. But what do you think about it?
Yeah, Clerks was like 6 episodes or 7. And it was like I felt like it was like very like keen. Like they got like the whole cast back to do the voices for the characters. Like Brian O'Halloran and everybody did like Dante. They had Jason Mewes, and actually Kevin Smith voiced Silent Bob, even though he didn't talk at all. But
well, he talked at the end.
Yeah, but like they had him, and they had Jason Mewes and Jeff Anderson, and they even had Charles Barkley.
Oh yeah, everyone's favorite punching bag.
Space Jam Central.
At the end of every episode, they'd have this segment with Jay and Silent Bob, which are these 2 drug dealing characters that hang out outside the store. Even though in the cartoon, they never say anything about drugs.
It was fireworks.
Yeah.
Fireworks in quotations.
It's a quarter stick of dynamite. You get 4 of these and you got like 2 sticks of dynamite.
Yeah.
What it reminded me of is the segments at the end of the Magic School Bus episodes where they talk to kids. That's what it reminded me of. And for some reason, Charles Barkley kept showing up and they just got progressively more
Like angry at him.
Angry and violent to the point where one time Charles Barkley's talking to the kids and they just roll up and immediately start beating him.
Yeah. There was like one where like Jay was teaching these kids magic tricks, and he's like, hey kids, let's learn some cool magic. And he's like, first you want to stick a coin on top of the upside down cup and then put a cloth over it. And then he like puts his hand on the girl's head and he's like, sacrifice your soul to Satan.
Yep.
And like it like blew up in flames, and it was just like, and there you go. That's how you make a coin disappear.
Something that, and I haven't seen Clerks 2, so even though I know kind of what it's about, but something I really didn't like about this show is the fact that they're a lot older than in the first Clerks, and they're still in the basically same place in life when the end of when Clerks was all about Dante taking responsibility for his life and decide to make progress in it, decides to move forward. But I guess that just went out of the window.
Yeah, like I think every episode would start out like Dante would wake up and always answer the phone, and he would like progressively throughout the episodes he'd like become like more under his like dirty clothes.
You have to see it to understand it. I'll put a link in the show notes.
Yeah, like also in there was like background characters that weren't really big in the series, that didn't really get like a big speaking role, but like there's a show that Kevin Smith has, it's called Comic Book Men, and he has like his friends who run a comic book store in Jersey, and like there's two characters, there's like a fanboy, and then there's like another guy who's voiced by Walt Flanagan and Brian Johnson, who are his two friends who run the store. And then there's a character, and Tara Strong actually does voices of like a group of girls, and Alec Baldwin does like the mayor of the town.
It's really hard to describe what this show is about because it seems like they don't even know. It's really different from the movie. There's even a segment in the beginning where they're at a convention and there's like 3 people showed up to their panel and they're saying, hey, what is going on? First of all, this is in color and you guys aren't really having like conversations about Star Wars, and what's with the rich dude? Is this The Simpsons?
Oh yeah.
Oh, and this is also probably the only show ever to have a clip show on the second episode.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
What else do you like about Clerks the animated series?
I like that Kevin Smith decided to go like with a cartoon of a continuation of the first movie. I think this is the series was released before the second movie, but I liked it a lot. Like I liked the style, like the comedy was like hilarious. Like I've never really seen a Kevin Smith movie, but it was like, I guess that's what I was expecting. Like the comedy, there's a like episode where the mayor Leonardo is like showing like his new building. Jay comes in and he's like, oh, that looks like a big bong, and like a dog walks by, he's like, that looks like a bong too. And like that was like one of my favorite scenes of it, because like it snuck in their like drug dealer humor without actually like making them flat out drug dealers in the series.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe they couldn't get away with that on TV, even though this was not a kid's show. Maybe the network just didn't want cartoons and drugs to mix at all.
Yeah, except if it's raisins.
Well, you know how powerful the raisin lobby is.
Yeah, we gotta bring it into that stuff. Don't do raisins.
To be honest, I don't think that this was a super great show. It definitely had a lot of funny bits, but I think it could have been really, really good if it had time to find its footing, because that's how a lot of shows are. Like Adventure Time and Steven Universe really weren't that great in the beginning.
Yeah, like it started like it's like the slow start out and then it progressively gets funnier. But like toward like when it was actually like the series finale, it was just like there's not gonna be any more after this, and it's like it could have gone so much further.
Yeah, I hope I would be okay if they tried to remake it or continue it, but there's a lot of legal issues, and Kevin Smith said you'd probably see a Jay and Silent Bob movie sequel. I mean, you probably see more animated Jay and Silent Bob before you see before you see more Clerks the animated series.
Yeah, like on Netflix they got like a Jay and Silent Bob like movie on there, and it's really poorly animated. But again, it still has the comedy of the Clerks, but like actually it is like it has the comedy of the Clerks, like with no limitations. Like they're drug dealers again, and like they're like cussing up a storm, and there's like sexual innuendos left and right.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that like made me like not want to watch it was like the animation was worse than Family Guy. It was like done in Flash, and like a lot of tweening was going on. It didn't really feel like it would be any good because of the visual aesthetic of it.
Did you see the animated scene from the first Clerks movie that got cut out?
Oh yeah, where they go to the funeral or something.
Yeah, Randall ends up dropping keys in the dress, down the dress of a girl who is being buried. So they gotta stick their hands down the dress and they get chased out. Yep.
Yeah, it was like this woman's husband or something. This man's husband. This dude's wife. She had like passed away, and like they dropped it and stuff, and they were like reaching. And he's like, "Get out of here!" And he was like chasing them out, like all that. Like it was like it had like the character designs that they used in the Clerks animated series, but again, the animation was like really choppy with it.
Yeah,
because the main focus was the live action parts of the movie.
Yeah, I really like the sleek and I wouldn't say minimalist, but it's very neat and clean art style that they have going on here. And this is a kind of art style that was really popular during the early 2000s, especially on some of the shows that came out because of The Simpsons.
There was one show that was unique. It looked like it was inspired by The Simpsons, but the characters it was Mission Hill. That was another one that I liked.
Mm.
Like, it came out in the early 2000s and it didn't last too long.
Have you ever watched The Critic?
I've seen previews of it. Like, I've seen little, like, things. It has some dude who's, like, short and stocky and has glasses.
It stinks.
It's terrible. And I haven't even seen it.
That was his catchphrase.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, if you've seen that episode of The Simpsons when they have a film festival, the main character was in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a crossover.
I should really check it out but the animation, it's another one of those, like, you know, like Clerks Clone High style with the characters. It was very popular that time.
Well, The Critic it's a lot softer and rounder, kind of like The Simpsons, but rounder than that. But it's a really good show. You should check it out. One of my favorites.
Like, I did find a website where I could watch old cartoons, and been meaning to like rewatch all the class of 3000s too, because the music in it was like really good from what I remember. There was Motorcity, which was another one of my favorites.
Tell me about that. Tell me about that.
Oh, Motorcity?
Yeah.
Basically it was like a kind of like post-apocalyptic, futuristic style thing where it was like a racing show. Like they had their own cars and they were like trying to take back like the world and stuff, and they were racing and all that, and they would be like action sequences where they would be outside of their cars and they would be fighting. Titmouse made it, and it was made in Flash. Then they usually make all their stuff in Flash, but like it always impresses me when they do their animation in Flash and make it look like really like gritty.
Yeah, Motor City is a good looking show, and I've only seen the first episode, but from what I've seen, that's some pretty good Flash animation they've got there. And I like how this show takes place in Detroit, but there are actually black people in it. Because in God, the Devil, and Bob, another short-lived cartoon, it takes place in Detroit, but there is almost no black people. There's almost no black characters in the background, and only one black character with a speaking role.
Like, I wish they would have had more diversity in that. I remember like watching a few episodes when it was on Adult Swim, but like I was always scared of the concept of the devil, so I was like, gotta avoid that.
I mean, how do you do that? Detroit is 80% black.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's like, do you live in Detroit?
I don't think they do, because in one episode they go to the DMV, but we don't have DMVs in Michigan. We go to the Secretary of State when we want to get our license.
It's just that, I guess I don't know where the creators were from, but like, they obviously weren't from Detroit because like they're not living in the same state that they were writing about. And
yeah.
so here's Detroit, or they were like extremely racist or something.
Here's Detroit if I had my way.
The creator's like, all right, here's a concept. Detroit, I'm with you. No black people. Sell it. Neo-racism. Yeah, like in Motor City, one of the big characters was Dutch. He was like one of the main characters, and he was a person of color in it.
Wait, you said his name was Dutch?
Yeah.
Was he anything like Dutch from Black Lagoon?
I'm not sure. Let me see. I don't think I've ever seen Black Lagoon.
Well, it's an anime, and Dutch is this big black guy with sunglasses.
Oh, yeah, I see him now. He had like an afro and stuff.
Oh. It would have been really cool if that was a reference they made.
Yeah. But yeah, he's got like a big chin, he's got an afro. And
yeah, he's super skinny too.
Yeah. Like, that was a big thing with Titmouse. They always make their characters like very slender. But like they will have like some big characters. Like in Randy Cunningham, like one of the main characters is a fat dude.
Yeah.
With but yeah, I hate that I got canceled because it was like very well written, very nice, and it was like the backgrounds and the color in it was like all the characters were unique and everything. Like one of the characters was the daughter of the guy who was like the tyrannical, like futuristic leader of Detroit. Yeah. But she like chose to live with like the people in Motor City.
And I never watched this show, but now that I think about it, that's probably a commentary on, this show's probably a commentary on gentrification. That makes sense. Because they've got the old city maybe not underground, but on a lower level, and it's grimy, and it seems poor, and they've got robots coming down attacking. But when you go to the new Detroit, Neo Detroit, or whatever you call it,
Neo Detroit with Domo and Cashew,
it's pristine, but it's like dystopian, where everybody's in pods and they seem brainwashed, but they're really rich.
Yeah, it's a common concept of like, you know, like the people who want it the way they want it, and then there's like the people who are actually running it and trying to take over the grimy little beaten down cities and stuff. Like, they didn't have much robots attacking them. It was like more people than anything. Uh-huh. Like there was like the Duke and everything. Like they would always race him for it, and then there was someone with a gas mask and green hair, like Kira or something.
Mm.
Like they were. Like, Duke is one of my favorite characters of the whole series because he's, like, really funny. He brings the comedy in it, and, like, he's a really well-designed character, and, like, then he's got, like, he's kind of like, you know, like, the wannabe, like, he's like a white boy. He's wearing, like, the tracksuit and the sweatbands and everything. He's got the sunglasses and, like, the jewelry and all that. Like, he's trying to be cool, but he's, like, a big dork.
Yeah, I just looked him up, but, I'm going to watch Motor City, and it will be really cool if I'm right about the whole gentrification commentary thing, because that's really something that's going on in Detroit, because I live here and the city's in big financial trouble. There's a lot of abandoned property and the economy's really bad. But the thing is, it's really cheap to be here. You can buy an entire office building not an entire office building, but you can buy a ton of office space. You can buy a ton of houses and property. So a lot of people are coming in here, like startups coming in and using the opportunity. Hey, we're going to make a service where you can ride a bus between malls and stuff like that. And, you know, it's a big debate going on about that.
Yeah, like, I think one of the creators, like, they live close to Detroit. That's where the Titmouse studio's at. So, but I think they actually do the research on, like, God, Devil, and Bob.
Yeah. I'm still stuck on that. How do you make a show in a city that's 80% black and not have any black people?
Yeah, it's just like, it's like trying to make a show in, like, I'm trying to think of a place, Australia, and not have people have an Australian accent. It's like, hello, welcome to Australia. I am obviously speaking in my Australian accent and like try to pass it off as like the real thing.
And that was our conversation on short-lived cartoons. Whenever you have a show that was canceled before its time, like if it never reached its conclusion, or if there's still plenty of stories and characters just ready to be explored, there's a lot of people who say, hey, they should bring this show back, they should revive it, they should start production on it again. And for a lot of shows, I think that could work. I'd like to see that. It could work for Young Justice, it could work for Sym-Bionic Titan, but some shows I don't think it would work well for. I'd rather just leave the show how it is and move on to something else. This mostly applies to shows that could have only been made in a specific time or supposed to be reflecting a specific culture, and the time is important in that culture or that representation of the culture. Like Clone High is an example. That show is just completely early 2000s, and it's a parody of an early 2000s genre, the teen drama genre. And just so much about that show is just early 2000s. Well, as I'm recording this, it's 2015. I don't know what year you're listening to this in, but it's just a totally different time. It's not the early 2000s anymore. The identity of that show is tied to a specific time, so I feel like if you try to make it, 12 years later? I don't know. But if you tried to do that, it just wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be Clone High, really. So that's a little something to think about. It's sad, but you just gotta deal with it. Or who knows, maybe all of these shows will get picked up for a revival and they'll all be amazing and I'll be terribly, terribly wrong. Thank you for listening. This is the Saturday Morning Block Party Podcast. We are on iTunes. Oh, and yeah, we haven't been on YouTube lately. Some issues. Go to our YouTube page sometime soon and you'll see an update. But besides that, we're on Facebook, we're on Tumblr, we're on Twitter, even though I barely update that. You can also find us at our official website, SaturdayMorningBlockParty.com, and feel free to go to any of those places and tell us what you thought about the episode. What shows did we leave out that you feel were canceled too soon? Let us know. And one more thing. There is a podcast called The Toon Goons. The Toon Goons did a really good episode on Clone High, so I'm going to give you a link to that in the description, and I want you to check that out. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you next time. 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 We'll see you next time.